and I reached out to every agency. No one was interested, and I'm not gonna let people, if they're gonna say no to me, I'm gonna go make it happen myself. So I started booking my own artist tours.
I really want to hone in on like the influence side, right? Because a lot of people would dial up a couple of venues, get shut down, and then call it quits. I think that's most people's natural tendencies.
Right.
Or maybe they think, I don't have enough relationships or whatever, but you mentioned the word trust. So during those first early calls, when someone said no to you, like what was your instinct? Where did you go from there?
Just move on to the next. I learned from my mistakes. I've made so many mistakes as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, that the best way to grow is to make the mistakes but then learn from it and don't make the same mistake twice.
Well, welcome guys. I'm here with a good friend of mine, Andrew Lieber. We are in the Fillmore venue just outside of DC for Dababy show tonight. And
sold out Dababy.
Sold out show.
2,000 tickets, sold out.
That's what's up, man.
It's exciting.
Awesome. Yeah, that's huge. Andrew's the booking agent for Dababy along with a couple other artists, and he has an incredible story that we're excited to tap into tonight. And also just had a few questions for him because this guy has overcome a lot of obstacles, and I think it's something that you guys are going to really like. So to start, Andrew used to do door-to-door sales with me in high school, and I wanted to just kind of kick off by asking, what was it like growing up just with me being your mentor?
That's funny. No, Jake, you started before I did. I came in after you, doing the door-to-door stuff. John Mathers, shout out John Mathers, love you, bro. But then as soon as I came in, I remember it was like 1 and 2, and we always went out every day and had competitions, and I think that's what made it fun and exciting, was going out there and trying to be the best at getting the most sales,
Yeah.
I attribute a lot of the success that I'm having now to what I learned as a door-to-door salesman. Knocking on doors, to get a sale, you got to knock on 20 doors, and to face that type of rejection, find the leverage within people. I contribute a lot of what I do now from booking shows on a daily basis to what I learned as a door-to-door salesman.
Yeah, dude, I bet.
It's invaluable doing that.
I'm sure. Yeah. It definitely teaches you a lot. Funny memory for me, at least, of Andrew, and I call him Lieber. We grew up calling him Lieber, but we would all have to share a neighborhood, and we would leapfrog each other, basically each house, and you would all just be like, "I got my own little nook."
Oh,
and go find your own area.
There was a reason for that, though. I like to get in the rhythm, and when you get one sale, and you can tell the next door neighbor, "Hey, I just got Jerry signed up." You got to do what Jerry's doing. It's a domino effect. So that's why I went with my own nook, is to get that domino effect going. Yeah. House by house. Oh, I got Jerry, then I got Roger, and obviously Sarah's going to do it,
Obviously.
So that was my mindset towards that.
Yeah, well, it worked.
It did work,
man.
It worked better than you.
I know. Yeah, you definitely had a few months that you were beating me out, which I was pissed about because I brought you. But we had a good time overall, man. And also, do you have a favorite memory of those days by any chance?
I was ruthless with it. Like people would tell me no so many times, and I wouldn't give up. I knew what I was offering is what they need, and just going after it. They tell me no 5 times, and I'll end up with a sale. And that's my favorite part.
Yeah.
Them literally closing the door on me, and me yelling through the door, like pitching them, and then they open the door. Yeah. That's my favorite part is closing the deal, but how you get to the close. And again, I use what I learned from door to door every freaking day.
Yeah, and man, I want to get to that and learn about that. I do have one memory of you that I've actually learned from, like that's helped me today.
Which one?
Where you were walking up to a house and I was a couple houses behind you. So when I got up to where you were, I saw you pitching this guy out front, right in his doorstep, and I hear him say, "Hey, I'm not good this week because my dad just passed away."
I was just telling someone the story, yeah.
Yeah. He said, "My dad just passed away, so now it's just really not a good time." And I think that's when anybody else would have said, "All right, man, like, I get where you're coming from." And then move on, right? Because naturally, the guy's dad just passed away. But I think this is actually where a lot of salespeople make a mistake, right? They have almost too much empathy, because if you were to empathize to a pretty heavy degree in this situation, you would have said, "Man, that's terrible. All right, I get where you're coming from. I'm going to leave you alone." But you still believed in what you were selling.
Because I knew what I was selling, he should have. He should have this, you know.
Right.
And I, unfortunately, he was dealing with a hard time at the moment. But I knew if he listened to me, if he knew what I was talking about, he would see the value in what I'm selling.
Right.
And so yeah, I mean.
And you got. For the record, he got the sale.
Yeah.
He still said, "I'm sorry for your loss." Like, you were completely understanding, not disrespectful by any means, but you truly believed so much in what we were doing out there that you said, "Hey, I know that's got to be rough for you, but how about the following week?" And he actually said yes.
Yeah.
And
I remember that. That was
still
crazy.
to this day, I think about that when somebody tells me no, or if they're going through a tough time. Of course, to be understanding, but still to believe that what we're selling can really improve their lives, right?
Yeah.
To circle back. So
yeah, you got to believe in what you're selling. Like, if you don't, you're not going to sell it.
yeah,
Like,
absolutely.
and I, with the artists that I book, I believe in my artists more than anyone. And when you believe in something, as much as I believe in my artists, you make believers out of the people that you're pitching it to.
Absolutely, man. And let's talk about that. Let's go into that. So you, at some point, dropped out of college.
Yep.
And got into music.
So first, rewind.
Okay.
I dropped out. So I took a semester off to go and try to make How High. Have you ever seen that movie, How High?
Yes. Oh, I remember this.
So yeah. So How High was one of my favorite stoner movies. One of the best stoner movies ever made.
Take the test high.
Yeah.
Get high scores.
Yep, exactly. Got blunt, got weed. Yep, like that movie. Incredible movie, best stoner movie ever freaking made. One day I was in college. It was my freshman year in college, maybe sophomore year, freshman or sophomore year. I remember the day. I remember the people that I was with. We were brainstorming one day. Look, how are we going to make it big? I've always had an entrepreneurial spirit. I've always, if I believe in something, I'm going to go after it. I've failed at businesses. I've found success at businesses. So this group of guys who I knew really had the money to do it, they said, "Andrew, if you can figure out how to make How High 2, we will invest in it." And I took it seriously. And that night, I reached out to, and cold emails, I didn't know what the hell I was doing, but I reached out to, I looked online, found just random emails that I could find, producers, directors, the actors, agents, reached out to maybe 50 people. "Hey, we want to make How High 2 financially possible. I got investors. We're real serious." That next morning, the producer of the original film of How High, Shauna Gar, she reached out and she said, "Andrew, this is weird timing. We just got Method and Red letter of intent signed. We don't want to go through Warner Brothers, or we don't want to go through Universal to make this film. We want to go independent." And so it was just a weird timing email. It got real serious real fast. They flew us out to LA. We had a couple different meetings. It got pretty far. They wanted $12 million for the production of the film, and we had the money was there, but instead,
was it mostly you that had orchestrated?
I was orchestrating the whole thing. I didn't have the money.
And you were how old?
I was 18 or 19 or something.
Insane.
I was orchestrating everything. I was on such a high. I dropped out of college. I was gonna go make How High 2. All my friends were like, "Holy shit, this is actually happening." Long story short, the guys that I went out there with, they bought 3 dispensaries instead of making the movie. So I lost the money. After that, I tried hitting up everyone I knew. I probably hit up you trying to find someone.
You did.
Yeah.
I hit up the VP
The
of
IHOP.
IHOP.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. So yeah, I really wanted to make this movie happen. I couldn't come up with the $12 million. I failed at doing that, but I was out in LA. I tasted the entertainment industry. I can't go back to school after doing that, you know?
Sure.
So I went back to ODU, dropped out of college. I've always been a go-getter, and then came Nova Talent. So Nova Talent, I wanted to manage artists. You know, I wanted to manage artists and build careers. I didn't know what I was doing. I just knew I watched a lot of Entourage maybe or something. You know, I wanted to be the agent. I wanted to be Ari Gold, just the agent, the guy that brings artist deals. Like, I want to make artists rich. And it all started from that How High venture and trial and error, managing artists and figuring out how to get the artists that I was managing on tour. So I had to get the artists that I was managing on tour, I had to offer to tour manage. At the time, it was King Los and Corey Guns. Corey Guns was with Young Money. King Los was with Bad Boy. And I through managing, I met King Los and Corey Guns' manager, same manager, and I convinced him to let me tour manage for them. And so I went on the road, and instead of paying me, I told them I just need my artists on the tour, you know. So I tour managed for free. I got my artists on tour, and while I was tour managing for them for like 2 years, I started building all these venue relationships, like meeting all the venues, meeting the talent buyers, the production people, and then I started trying to get the artists that I was managing their own tours, their own headline tours. And I reached out to every agency. No one was interested. And I'm not going to let people, if they're going to say no to me, I'm going to go make it happen myself. So I started booking my own artist tours. Cold calling, cold emailing, different venues across the country, hoping they were interested in booking the artist. I must have reached out to 500 venues across the country, and out of 500, I convinced 10 or 15 of them to take the dates, And from there, I kept building venue relationships and somehow convincing artists to let me book them their tours, because I did it for these guys I was managing. Let me do it for some more guys, and that was 7-8 years ago now. And it just kept growing. I just kept building these venue relationships. My tours would get bigger. I would get in touch with more legit promoters and venues, and then I just artist by artist, brick by brick. It just started getting pretty serious. I started booking tours for some cool artists. Troy Ave, when he was an XXL freshman, that was a cool tour for me. Several years ago. Then it just developed into what it is now. 4 years ago, I went full-time booking agency. I did T.I.'s most recent tour. I did the Games 1992 album tour. I did Genuine's tour.
That's sweet though, man. Those are some big names.
Yeah, no, it, like
Did you get to meet those guys?
Yeah, most of them. I learned from my mistakes. I've made so many mistakes as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, that the best way to grow is to make the mistakes but then learn from it and don't make the same mistake twice. And so I made a lot. I grew a lot while I was building each artist brick by brick. And 4 years ago, again, went full-time booking agency. I stopped managing artists. I stopped doing tour management. It was all just booking. I enlisted now 3 years ago. I brought on my partners, Ben Gomez and Russell Carl. Ben and Russ, they handled all the back end work for me. So the contracting, the tour logistics, the marketing and promotions. After I sold it to the venue, they would handle the communication with the venue. So together, us three, we really took it to a level where our agency was being brought up in the same conversation as some of these bigger building top agencies. And then 2018, last year, was a huge year for me. You know, we're working with Live Nation, we're working with AEG, we're working with all the top independent promoters in the country. We have all the festivals, we have Europe on lock. At that point, I've built, you know, it's been 8 years of building all these venue relationships. Yeah. Now we have everyone. Last year was amazing. Juice Wrld changed my whole life. It changed my whole company. It showed this industry what we were capable of. You know, we did all his touring, all his festivals in 2019. This big tour he has coming up in 2019. It changed everything. And I've been approached by 4 of the 6 bigger building agencies out here. But right now I want to stick independent and rock this out. You know,
keep doing your own thing.
I know what I'm capable of. I know what I can provide for our clients, and I strongly believe there's not an agent or agency out here that works as hard as I do. So
I love it, man. You got to have that belief, though, right?
You got to think you're the best. You know,
you got to think you're
like
the
if
best.
you're a rapper, you should think you're the best motherfucking rapper out. You know, I strongly feel I'm the best agent out. You know, and I'm gonna go out there every day and prove it.
Yeah. Well, clearly you're already doing that, man, and it's amazing to see where you've come so far, which is incredible. But a couple questions for you, because I know you kind of, not so casually, but talked about building up this trust with these venues, and now you've got the whole nation on lock, plus Europe, which is fantastic. But I really want to hone in on like the influence side, right? Because a lot of people would dial up a couple venues, get shut down, and then call it quits. I think that's most people's natural tendencies.
Right.
Or maybe they think, I don't have enough relationships or whatever. But you mentioned the word trust. So during those first early calls, when someone said no to you, like, what was your instinct? Where did you go from there?
Just move on to the next.
Okay, so it was kind of more of a numbers game in the beginning.
100%. It's always a numbers game. I go after, for the clients that I'm working with, it's always back to the numbers. I'll reach out to 20 different artists I'm going after. If I land 1 or 2 of them, that's good.
Okay.
You know, and then I'll just reach out to 20 more. If I land 1 or 2 of them, I'm happy.
So
that all goes back to the door-to-door sales shit.
Yeah, true.
You got to knock on as many doors as you can to get those sales.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, well, here's a question then. First, taking all of this rejection, right? If you're calling 500 venues and you got 10 to 15 to say yes.
Yeah.
490 no's, basically. So what do you feel like internally when someone says no?
Oh, that doesn't bother me. That's like when it says no, it's like, all right, you're lost. Like, sorry, And then when that artist blows up, I'll make a call back. Hey, you slept on this. I just made one of those calls today, actually.
Really?
He didn't believe in the artist, and it sold out in 4 days. Like he didn't put up in the money. He thought it was too much of a risk, and I was telling him, look, you're sleeping. You're gonna miss out on this opportunity, and now we're gonna bump the venue up to 4,000 capacity.
Awesome.
But no is all part of the game. When you're in sales, when you're in sales, getting said no to is gonna happen every single day. I get rejected. I lose battles every day. Other agencies with the big target on my back, they beat me down every day. I'm the underdog. Like, I get beaten down. My record is not undefeated. I lose probably more than I win. But because I'm playing with the numbers, I'm winning enough to start making good money.
Yeah, definitely. Do you feel like your numbers have improved over time?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. And now we're going back to the domino effect of, I got these artists, Juice Wrld, Dababy.
You've got momentum now.
Now I'm if I reach someone out with the resume that I have, they're gonna call me back. They're gonna send me an email back.
Yeah.
So it's just a matter of gaining traction, believing in yourself, taking rejection as it's not a bad thing. you know it's not a bad thing for it to get said no to.
Yeah.
Figure out why they said no to you, find the leverage and make them say yes.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like come back to them in a week and make them say yes.
You're talking about finding leverage. Let's say you're calling a venue, right, and you want to influence them to book the show.
Right.
So what's your method of finding leverage in that situation?
Well, I'm being smart about the people that I reach out to. Like if I'm working with an artist from Atlanta, it's a new artist, I'm not going to reach out to Seattle, Washington. You know, I'm going to focus in on that region. I'm going to know that they can sell tickets in that region or in that venue or in that city, and I'm going to show them the stats. I'm going to point them in the direction of the social media, of the streaming numbers. Like I'm not selling something that isn't in a product ready to be sold, if that makes sense. Like if you're an artist that doesn't have traction, you're not ready for me, you know? Like you have to you have to be able to I have to be able to sell you, if that makes sense.
Sure.
You know, so you know that's the tricky thing is the timing of when I reach out to an artist to go get them. So when I have an artist and I'm pitching them, I already know I'm going to get interest. You know, I just have to. What I'm doing at that point is getting the price up. You
Okay,
know?
so nowadays it's different, right? It's a different sell because you know they'll say yes because you've got the relationships and the trust.
It's not 100% they'll say yes every time, but
Yeah.
I know if I'm working a tour, I know there's going to be enough promoters out there that are going to say yes. It's just a matter of how much money or risk they'll take on.
Okay, gotcha.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. Shifting gears here a little bit. You've got a team nowadays.
Yep.
And you said Ben and Russell. Anybody else?
So I have 2 partners,
Okay.
and we have 3 employees.
Okay.
So 2 partners and 3 employees.
So 6 altogether.
Yep, with me.
What was that like going from just you hustling, booking these shows to having like your first employee or partner?
Yeah. I needed it. I was overwhelmed. I couldn't do everything myself. Without my 2 partners, Ben and Russ, handling the back end work, I wouldn't have been able to keep doing the front end sales part, you know? I did my best from jump to make the people around me feel equal. Like I feel like I'm very fair, and for a very long time, we were all making the same amount of money. Even though I started it, even though I was the one bringing in the sales, for a very long time, I wanted them to feel how much I value them. Because without them, this would be nothing, you know?
So you made that transparent to them.
Oh, absolutely. Like it was very transparent that they were making the same amount that I was. That, you know, I gave them ownership in the company, you know, because we weren't making, a bunch of years ago, 6 years ago, we weren't making enough to pay salaries, you know? And so I had to, figure out a way to keep them motivated and get them motivated. At first, they would just get commissions of everything that they book or something, you know? And, you know, when I made money, they made money.
Do you ever have days where you wake up and don't feel like being the leader of Mac to your team?
No, not at all. I love what I do. I wake up every single day hungry for it. I fall asleep. I wake up just ready to get after it. And I know that if I'm working hard, it's contagious. And my team around me, they're the hardest working people. I know there's no agency out here that's working harder than us. And so we work in a field where it's pretty motivating on its own, you know, being in the music industry, it's pretty motivating. But we're on a trajectory like that, you know, and it's not hard to motivate these guys because, you know, they want to be here, they want to be in this industry. So
and you're setting the example.
Just lead by example, exactly.
Yeah.
We just got to work hard. We're 24/7. We're always on call. So
yeah, love it, man. What's next for Mac?
We're just going to continue to grow. We're going to continue to grow the 3 companies in our portfolio: the booking side, the clothing side, and the brands and endorsement side. Picking up artists one by one, brick by brick, and taking it to the top.
Love it, man. Well, appreciate you taking the time to meet today. You've got an incredible journey, and I've been inspired by you. I know a lot of people in our own network have been. It's just been awesome to see, especially you work your way up from those first couple calls to, now we're sitting in the green room.
Sold out Fillmore.
The sold out show of a guy with over 2 million followers on Spotify, over 1 million followers on Instagram.
Yep.
This is where we are today because of your hard work, man. Love it.